Casey, welcome to the show. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's epic. I mean, what can I say? I've been wanting to do this interview for a while now, and now that it's gonna happen, I'm super excited. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Perfect. So, jumping straight to the interview, let's go back in time here a little bit and tell me where does this passion for acting start?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've sort of been passionate about it since I was a kid. I fell in love with my first movie, Harriet the Spy, and then, you know, impersonated her. Well, put on my own spy gear, and then I also, and then that actually got me into writing as well. But I also started performing as a dancer, so I grew up dancing and danced all the time.
Yeah.
And then I started doing theater when I was 11. So yeah, I mean, I always kind of really was interested in performing, loved movies, and it was sort of the escapism of it all, and being able to see life from a different
Yeah.
perspective, stepping into someone else's shoes for a bit was always really a fun idea to
Mm,
me. So yeah, I mean, yeah, when I started doing theater when I was 11, I just never looked back.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So basically,
Hmm.
starting from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love it. That's super cool. Wow. And going a little bit here on your acting career, tell me like how you prepare a character. Now I get it, of course, that
Mhm.
it depends on the role, but like
Mhm.
what is your approach to start this whole process of creating a character?
Yeah, I mean, my initial approach is very internal and very intuitive.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is really just understanding the world of the film or the world of the play, whatever you're doing. Um, Understanding what that world is like, what the
Yeah.
people are like, what the town is like. Is it a city? Is it a small town? Is it a city? Is it in the US or is it somewhere
Mm,
else? And then really understanding from there, grounding the character in that space and grounding this human that you are portraying in that
yeah.
space, and thinking about their backstory, where they came from, how they grew up, what their family life was like. So for me, it's really kind of diving into the backstory of the character, and very intuitive, but it's a lot of intuition in the prep, and how this particular person
Yeah.
is feeling in these moments, and how certain circumstances that are portrayed in the film of their life,
Hmm.
how they're responding to it, how they react to it, why they react the ways that they do. So it's just really a deep dive of um, studying who this person is. So that's really, and I that to me is a really exciting process. But that's really where I start, is figuring out who this specific person is in their world. Yeah.
Amazing. That's I mean it's such a journey basically, right?
Hmm.
That for some people might think, which is just learn your lines, learn a little bit
Hmm.
about this and you're good to go. I mean what I ended up discovering is that sometimes it could take months or even years to kind of set
Hmm.
it up perfectly, especially if it is like a very strong character, that needs to have like a backstory and all of that. So I find
Right.
pretty cool the fact that you're able to kind of like put yourself like away for a bit and play this character that is basically using your body, your face, your voice, your everything to tell the
Hmm.
story. So I find that amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
I love it. Hmm. And now talking a little bit about characters here,
Hmm.
let's talk about a little bit about Terrifier too.
Sure.
So,
Yes.
so I watched the film, but here's the
Hmm.
thing. So when I watched it, I didn't know what to expect. So a
Right.
friend of mine saw it. I was like, yeah, you know what? Check this film. You might have like some ideas like to interview people from that film. And I was like, okay. And like, what is it about? Well, it's like a horror film. I was like, okay, horror film. Okay, let's see. I mean, I get scared super easy on horror films. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's try it. And wow, like
Yep.
it was amazing. And like
Thank
what I ended up
you.
discovering is like the whole revenue, it went into this massive revenue that ended up having. I mean, and also like some of the
Hmm.
actors that I've interviewed also have seen that film, and we were like talking like a little
Hmm.
bit about it, like behind the scenes. And it was amazing like how this film managed to get like so like yeah, like a lot of revenue, which is amazing. But
Yep.
Basically the scene that disturbed me the most, and you're gonna know exactly what the scene was, like the whole bedroom scene. I mean, that blew my
Mm-hmm.
mind. I was like, okay, this guy is basically like the clown It, but on steroids.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's worse, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like It had a son, and then the son went through some really dark stuff, and then met up with Freddy and Jason, like something like that.
Yeah,
Like, tell me, like, how was like the whole preparation to make that scene? Because I'm pretty sure that it took a lot of it, right?
it did. I mean, the whole scene to film it, it took 5 days. So
Wow.
each day we were adding more prosthetics. We filmed it in order to add more prosthetics as the scene was going on. And um, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, in preparation for that, really, Damien took time during the pandemic to kind of really hone in on the prosthetics and the special effects for that scene. So in a way, we did start filming it right before the pandemic. We had only done one day of that, but then we kind of went back to the drawing board. Damien went back to the drawing board, and he just kind of added a little bit more, made it I think a bit more interesting, more physical as well. So that was actually really cool that he was able to add more. We were able to add more physicality to the scene and more kind of choreography. I guess you could call it blocking choreography.
Hmm.
But and then yeah, but it was obviously such a huge scene to prepare. And I mean, as an actor going into something like that, I don't spend too much time thinking about
Yeah.
that. Like, I don't want to spend too much time thinking about like dying and death. So it's sort of one of those things where I just sort of brace myself, and I'm like, all right, I'm just like diving right in, because it is so intense, that I feel like for me, the best approach is to just jump right in and just go all out and just
Oh yeah.
from the first take, So
Oh yeah.
because it's hard to do it a lot, over and over again, but it's also like you just want to, you want to find the levels of
Mm.
of how far, yeah, where you're really going to go with that scene. So it was it was 5 days. It was a lot. It was a long 5 days, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, it was like so cold and it was freezing, but at the same time, like, we were just having so much fun with it. And it was a good environment, of good people. So it was a supportive environment to be able to go there for that scene. But just working with the prosthetics was so fun, and seeing that all come together in the editing too.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks, Damien made it look so good. So
Yeah, as I
yeah.
said, I mean, when I watched that scene, what ended up happening is that I basically put pause, and I was like, okay, I'm just
Mm.
gonna take a break a little bit here. As I said, I mean, as I was saying, I mean, it make look like, I don't know, like the most gory, like, yeah, like the most gory films ever made, like
Hmm.
child play. I mean, and then this one came. I was like, I even told his friend, like, I mean, this one makes look Texas Chainsaw Massacre as totally different level. I mean, I remember when I
Yeah.
watched him, I was like, whoa, that was strong. But with this one, I mean, you guys basically went like basically through everything out of through the house. Yeah, it was amazing. But as I said, when I watched it, that scene happened, and then I was like, okay, I need a break. So I took a break, and then I finished watching. I was like, okay, so after that scene, it doesn't. I mean, it's like, I mean, you already know that, so you're like, whatever happened right now, I mean,
Uh-huh.
I can handle it. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it was a wild ride, but I'm super
Yeah, I
proud
bet.
of the work we all did with that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I mean, and as I was saying, like the fact that this film ended up being like super successful, and like
Hmm.
as I say here, like the revenue was like crazy here. So that's pretty cool. The fact that you were able to create a film that doesn't have like this huge, like this huge production budget or things like that, and you still
Right.
managed to create something really cool, and amazing, basically, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty wild how well the film has done. I wasn't, I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I'm
Mm,
not gonna like expect that a film's not gonna do well, but I wasn't
absolutely.
expecting it to be in theaters at all. Um, and I wasn't expecting it to get extended in theaters either. But yeah, I mean, the whole process of filming it was just super fun. I'd never done a slasher movie before, so it was just really cool to be a part of, and I'm super proud of everyone for
Yeah. Yeah,
how
I
the
bet.
work they did and for how it's been received. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I wonder, like, how was the process? Because, for example, I interviewed once this actress that she does most of her work is creature work, you know. So she will have
Mm,
costumes as monsters for horror film. Like most of her job is like that.
yep.
And she was telling me that it's super hilarious that sometimes she's like on full costume and she will be drinking Starbucks and tweeting, you know, and that
Yeah.
people will feel like what the hell, you know, like we see this demonic monster just tweeting, drinking coffee, have a good time, laughing, or be like, what do you
Hmm.
want to do? Like, what do you want to do after lunch? Like, how was the whole yeah, like how was the vibe to it, you know, like you record that a
Hmm.
scene and you know as you tell me that it took like 5 days, like how was the vibe to it, and how was like how you managed to that scene happen and then you break character, you know, you're
Hmm.
all full
Yeah.
with, like how was that for you, like to be like okay cut and you're like all, you know, like with the blood and everything and be like okay let's go to lunch.
Um, so it was, yeah, that it was fun. I mean, David, first of all, who plays Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, walks around in that costume, and he'll be on lunch break, he'll be doing whatever, but it's also, he doesn't want to ruin his makeup, of course. So
Totally.
he does have to be careful with it, but he'll just, but I remember when we were filming that scene though, we were so delirious because it was just long hours, little sleep, like at the end of the day, by the time we got the prosthetics off at the end of the day
Mm.
and then had to put them back on the next day. But I do remember there are videos. Damien and some of the producers have videos of me just like in the prosthetics, just like dancing, eating, like
Yeah.
but there's a video of me that Damien brings up all the time, where it's just the arm, because we were super proud of this prosthetic, and I think I mean, I'm sure Damien's very proud of it, but I was very proud that he did this, the prosthetic of the arm, the
Mm.
half the arm when my arm got ripped off. um and so it was just like this arm like dangling off of me, and my other arm was just behind my back like this.
Mm.
And so there's videos of me like dancing with the arm just like
That's crazy.
flinging off my shoulder.
Wow.
um and so we were having fun with it, and we were just getting like really weird and funny with it, in between takes, but also when we were off set and
Mm.
before we took off all the prosthetics. So it was, the thing is that everyone who worked on this film is so fun and so funny. Like everyone is just
Totally.
joking, pranking each other on set and things like that. So we had a lot of fun with it, and we kept
Yeah.
the energy light,
Wow. I love it. And how was, and like before moving on, like my last question on this topic would be like, how was your reaction to see your whole character
Oh yeah.
being getting slaughtered in that way?
Yeah, it's always hard to watch yourself as an actor in general, but to watch yourself get mutilated. The first time I watched it, we were in Austin at a film festival, Fantastic Fest there. That's the first time I saw it on a big screen, and fully edited together as well.
Mm.
And I just was so low in my seat. I was cringing. I was sitting next to Sarah Voigt, who plays Barbara, and she was like, "What is happening right now?" And we were both like freaking out. We're like, "Oh my
Mm.
God." And I'm like, "I can't believe people are watching this." But then I saw it another time after that, and I focused more on it instead of cringing and hiding
Mm.
from it. And I really watched the scene the next time I saw it on a big screen, and I almost started crying because it's so. It's first of all like the fact that it's me. It kind, and the way that it looks. I know that there are people who have seen the film and were like, "Oh my God, I started crying because of what happened to Allie," and it
Yeah.
was so realistic and it was so well, like so well done. And so I actually did tear up, and I really, was I really wanted to cry
Yeah, I
because
bet.
I was like, oh my God, you're watching this thing happen. And I was like, wait, but could that really happen? And so, like, my mind went to this place of, like, oh my God, like, it's just horrific what
Mm.
is happening on screen. And it looks so good that I was like, oh my God, what if that could happen to me like in
Yeah,
real life? And
I
that
can
like
understand that.
freaked me out a little bit. So obviously I know it's fake, but
But
and
still,
I was
yeah.
there for it, but watching the whole thing was emotional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as I've been telling you, like when I watched that scene, it got like super emotional. Like at some point, I was
Mm.
like, I mean, come on, this guy is like doing overkill. I mean, it just like
Hmm.
finish it already, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but as I said, I mean, it was something different, totally different.
Yeah.
And as I said, like the fact that this film easily goes toe to toe with this huge horror franchises, like easily goes
Hmm.
toe to toe because like you manage to really create something super terrifying, super gory, but really cool because it's something, as I've been saying, the fact that it doesn't have like this huge production backing up, which I find that pretty inspiring and also pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big indie film fan, and
Mm.
so the fact that people supported this independent film, um, it really means a lot. Especially, yeah, I think it's so important to support independent filmmakers and the films that they put out there. Um, so it's, yeah, really nice that people went to
Amazing.
see it. Hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. And trust me, like here in Mexico, I'm also like sharing it with friends. Two of them already saw it, and they were like, one of them even like half the bedroom scene was like, okay, I'm done with it, and he doesn't want to watch it. He's like,
Mm,
no, no, it's super traumatizing. I'm done. I was
yeah.
like, okay, cool. But it's pretty cool. And like whenever you can cause like that reactions like to the audience, I find that super
Hmm.
interesting. You know, the fact that you can really, yeah, like you can really make someone care about the character, you know, and to be like really worried about it, and to, I mean, your character be basically slaughtered. I mean, yeah,
Right.
I can understand, like I can understand how like so many people yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, right. So moving on here, I like a little bit. Tell me, like, let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now, I don't
Mhm.
know anything about acting. I mean, I only had one role back in high school, one line, I screw it up. So, based on what you know, what advice could you give to me? You know, what advice could you
Mhm.
give to me or to someone who is like on this idea of why not starting acting? You know?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I think I would say that the place I would start is by finding a community of other actors. And
Yeah.
one way to do that is, to take classes, to go, take an acting class somewhere near you. You'll meet other people who are also interested in acting and who are like-minded in that way. And then also your teacher will have a lot of really good advice, not just about acting, but also about the business in general. So I think, I mean, for me, my foundation as an actor started in classes,
Okay.
right? Um, and then, of course, there are certain ways to self submit yourself to auditions without having an agent. You do need to have a headshot, which is,
Mm.
just a photo of you. Um, doesn't have to be anything too expensive, but I would say to just really get out there and to surround yourself with like-minded people, who you can learn from and who you can sort of go through all of that and figure that out together a little bit. Because yeah, having a community of other actors um, is super nice, just so that they really understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from and what your goals are and things like that, and having that support system too.
Mm. Mm.
So the classroom is for me the best, um, a really good place to start.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, that's, yeah, I can
mhm.
understand that because I think, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just basically normal people who is like getting training or preparing, getting education to perform a job, which I think that
Right.
sometimes we will see actors as this, I mean, like these people that that they become actors because they had like connections or
Hmm.
opportunities, or like something
It's
that
true.
make them that happen, which I ended up discovering with this platform, that no, it is not. I mean, I have like seriously, out of the 430 people that I have speaking with, nobody has told me that they want to become actors, and boom,
Mm-hmm.
everything was like here on like a silver plate, and be like, okay, yeah, sure,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want, what do you need? Like, none of them. And that's pretty cool, because it shows that it doesn't matter like where you're from, what your language, culture, whatever. If you have a dream,
Mm-hmm.
you can make it happen, and you can
True.
find like places to go. Because with this conversation that I had months ago, they would tell me like, yeah, but I mean, then I will need to move to LA, or to New York or things like that. Which I was like, not really. I mean, you can find like acting schools, and if anywhere you live, there are not many acting schools. You can start on YouTube, check a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, get yourself your feet wet on it, check it, and then find it, and you will see, yeah, how you will be able to make it
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely. And I mean, I would also just even recommend too, just watching a lot of movies
Absolutely.
and seeing what those actors do on screen, because some of the choices, some of the nuances are just really, really cool. The way that someone will just will do something that is almost surprising, right, on camera. So
Absolutely.
instead of just delivering the lines just very straight and like how everyone else would deliver them, it's nice to watch actors who deliver their performances in ways that are so unique to who they are, and I think that's
Absolutely.
a cool thing to study as an actor too.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I have met, like, some of the actors will tell me like ways to play like ways to prepare a character. Some of them, like, everyone has like their own thing, but like some of them will tell me that they go on the subway, and they will sit
Mm-hmm.
there and just stay there for a long time, and eventually your character will come.
Subway's a good place for
Yeah,
that.
I was like, huh, that's pretty interesting. Or some people will go to, like, to get some coffee, sit in the park, and just like watch people and things like that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty. So like that's pretty cool. The fact that, I mean, at the end, I can understand that you want to make your character as relatable as possible, right? I mean, you want to create like this
Mm-hmm.
connection with the audience. So it is pretty cool how like all of the different techniques and processes they can take to actually make that happen. And as I was saying, like this whole process behind that you need to, for example, if you're gonna play like a 30, I don't know, like a 35-year-old person, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
you will need to have like, okay, like how was his childhood, how was like
Right.
his teenage, like, like all of that stuff. So I find that pretty cool and
Mm-hmm.
amazing, because at the end of the day, bring like having the chance like to bring us emotions and feelings, but at the same time, like what like part of your performance to stay with us for a long time. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and definitely studying people is great. Some people also do animal work, which I have done before, which is where you study an animal, or you like look, kind of try to get inspiration from animals and the way
Yeah.
animals move, and you kind of bring that into a character a little bit. Like, does this animal lead with their head a lot, and is this person, so like, there are a lot of really interesting ways to figure out nuances about your character as well.
Mm-hmm. There's actually this
Mhm.
actor, right? I think it's Andy Serkis, right?
Mm.
I mean, he played Gollum and Lord of the Rings, and he
Okay.
also he also did
Uh-huh.
like the whole movement of the apes in the Planet of the Apes. And I think
Uh-huh.
like most of like he does like a lot of motion capture. And whenever I will watch like the behind the scenes, it's super cool. I find that super entertaining. The
Yeah,
fact that
it
it's a
is.
room with just props, and they have to pretend that they have like they're in this jungle or thing like that. I find that super cool.
Yeah, the one cool thing about genre film is all the imagination work you get
Yeah.
to do with it, like whether it's fantasy, horror, sci-fi, you're using your imagination for so much because that stuff isn't existing in real life
Yeah,
or,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
So it's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it, they call to you. Yeah, they call you and they tell you, we want to make this film in which all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. Tell me, what would be the name of that film?
Oh goodness. I feel like that, I mean, Well, I would love for that to happen, but I feel like I do feel like the characters I've played have all been pretty uh not like too far away from who I am. Like there
Hmm.
obviously there are the differences of who they are, but I feel like there's commonalities. I feel like it would be um something like, you know, uh something about a menagerie of
Okay.
similar of like-minded people of kind some well maybe not all like-minded but just like the I would just call it the menagerie of brunettes.
Okay. Okay. And like what
A
genre
brunette menagerie.
and what genre would it be? Would it be like comedy, dark comedy, horror perhaps?
I think it would definitely be a dark comedy
Mm.
for sure. um yeah, because I would be mixing a lot of horror and thriller characters with like a couple of comedy characters, but I feel like most of them are like most of them are like thrillers, and then there's like the dramedy and the comedies.
Mm.
I feel like mixing those two would be a pretty cool dark comedy.
Okay. Okay. I like it. Now, if you had to, yeah, let's say that if you had to go out get some drinks, but you will have to do it with one of your characters, which character would you choose to go with and have some fun drinks and yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely choose a character I played in a comedy series called The Usual. Her name is Meg, and I mean, she discovers that her husband is having an affair,
Oh.
but she just seems like the type of woman who, you know, she's like an editor at a magazine. Like she's in the know. She
Mm.
knows the good spots to go to. She knows the good bars to go to. I feel like she would be fun. I feel like she has like fun connects
Mm.
with people. So that's who I would choose. That's who I'd go out
Okay.
with.
All right. All right. Now, let's say that for your birthday,
Mm-hmm.
they give you a time machine.
Ah,
But here's the catch. You can only travel once to meet the 13-year-old version of yourself. So what advice would you give to the little you?
I mean, honestly, I would just tell her to follow her instincts and follow her gut, and
Mm.
to keep going, to do the things that bring her joy, to do the things that make her happy, and to follow those dreams that she does have. I had. But yeah, I would just tell her to really listen to her gut and follow those dreams that she has, and not, you know, not to fall into you know, the the things that everyone else
Mm.
always wants you to do, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
do this job, this is a better job than pursuing an artistic career or anything like that. I think just listening to her instincts, and not worrying, like things will work out, and just, you know, like things will work out in the way that they're supposed to, and just, you know,
Absolutely.
have fun with the journey,
That's
you
pretty
know.
cool. I like it.
Hmm.
I like it. And you know that actually sounds like a like the whole plot for a film. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying, you know.
That would be a good film.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, if you could describe your whole career but on a drink, which
Mm.
one would you choose? Now you could choose one that it's all, you know, that it's known, that it's already been made, or you can create your own.
I mean, I don't know. I yeah, I feel like I feel like an espresso martini comes to mind,
Okay.
because, you know, there's a little bit of alcohol in it, a little bit of like, okay, have like like have some fun,
Mm.
ease into this, but also there's the espresso and the espresso martini that is a bit of like a pep, because it's like, okay, but also don't sleep on this. Don't get, you know, don't get too discouraged. Don't fall asleep. Keep going, you know. I
Yeah.
feel like um yeah, I feel like that mix of like keep going, don't give up, but also like
Mm.
take your breaks when you need it, but you know, it's a long process and a long journey to get to any of our goals really.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like, how would you
Yeah.
call it? Let's say that if I go to a bar or a
Hmm.
restaurant and I want to order that drink, how do you call it?
Instead of an espresso martini, I would call it um, the long haul. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd call it reach for the stars. No, I would probably call it indie darling because I really like indie films and
I like it.
I have done so much work on indie films.
Mm.
And I feel like that has really defined my career in the industry so far. So even like when it comes to theater, doing like, you know, off Broadway theater and stuff, in indie darling, I think that would be.
You know what?
So maybe,
It sounds good. I
yeah.
like it. It sounds classy. I like it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sounds
Yeah.
yeah, like mysterious. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
think this actually might be a version of an old fashioned instead of an espresso martini, the indie darling. Something classic and
Mm.
old, like, you know.
I like it. I like it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Now,
Hmm.
but yeah, like my last question here is like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days that we just want to quit. You know, and sometimes it's interesting
True.
because sometimes things are okay, nothing bad is happening, but then we got this idea in our head, like this bug in our head, and we start to think that that it has been a waste of time,
Hmm.
that we are not going anywhere. You know, like getting inside into these toxic thoughts is always too easy. So my question here is, what pushes you away from those thoughts and make you continuing on this journey that you have been creating for so many years now?
Hmm. I was actually talking about something similar to this earlier today, which is funny, but with someone, with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But I there are definitely those discouraging moments, and I think for me, I can definitely get very in my head about it, and I can be like, "Oh my God, I need to be working now." Like I can get impatient with it, and then I can be really hard on myself. Um, you know, waiting for the next opportunity to come up because you know there's so many gaps in this kind of work. But I think that for me, one of the more encouraging things and one of the things that does motivate me is um, talking to other actors about it, but also um, reading interviews from other actors about it, because there are so many other actors who will mention the highs and
Yeah.
then how the lows can be very, very low.
Totally.
And the fact that all of these people who I idolize, the fact that everyone has felt this at some point in their career and in their lives, I think it's very grounding in a way that just because it's like, you know, this person, I view them as being so successful, and now, and like I know that they've been through periods of time where they're, you know, they feel like they're struggling, or they feel like, okay, why like why am I not working right now, or when is the next time I'm going to work. You know, Melissa McCarthy has talked about that. Margot Robbie recently talked about the highs and the lows of being an actor. I actually met Jeff Garlin once, like a few years ago, after a Cubs game in Chicago, and he like I spoke. He was so nice to just stop and talk for a second, and he asked. He's like, "Oh, so you're an actor?" It's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "You know, there are going to be low moments. There are going to be some dark moments, and you just have to, you know, just hang in there." He's like, and I was living in New York, and he's like, you know, New York is a tough town, and you just have to hang in there. And hearing successful people talk about this and talk about like, look, I know that it's going to be, that it's tough, and there are going to be some dark moments in your in you're going to feel like you're stuck in a dark moment at some points in your career. It's just going to happen. Knowing that we will get through that, and knowing that other people have gotten through that, I think is very inspiring and very motivating to just keep going. And yeah, I've never, yeah, and I, you know, I love it so much that I have never been able to quit. But I've had moments where I'm like, I at least just need a break right now, and I need to focus my mind on something else so that I don't drive myself too crazy. So that's something I love reading interviews and books about other artists.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch my platform. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Yep.
saying, No, but I get it. I get. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, everything that you said, and also, as I've been saying, the fact that you guys are at the end of the day are regular humans like everyone. You cry the same, you get angry the same. It's like the same here. So,
Right.
and I can understand like how discouraged might be sometimes whenever you book a project and then you made it happen, everything happened, and then 6-7 months later you don't have anything. I can understand like how discouraged and scary might be the fact that, well, I mean, we live in a society in which we need money to pay stuff. So to not be having like that constant income as another kind of regular job, I mean, of course, it's I can understand how desperate and scary might be, and you might get into a point in which you would be like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm just wasting time here. But yet again, I mean, that being said, the fact that you continue pushing forward, that you continue working on your craft, that you stay there, basically, you have, I mean, that you are hanging there, make it happen. I think that is super. That's amazing, and that's why I would think that actors are kind of the superheroes of this thing that we call life, because at the end you guys go through so many awful moments, dark times, but regardless that, you always give us entertainment. You give us, and besides giving us entertainment, which is cool, you are also showing us that here I am making my dream happen. You can do it too. Either if you want to become actor, musician, whatever you want to do, you can make it happen. But of course, there is this huge amount of work that you need to work on. I mean, not only on your craft, but only on your mental and physical state, to be like more healthy and to try like to not to take everything so personal, because as you mentioned, like the fact that so many like rejections happen. I remember once an actress told me that actors don't do film for a living, they do auditions.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. So it was like that's crazy, but like regardless, you still manage to perform and to give us so much epicness here, and I basically love it. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very important too to remember what you love about it, because there is a reason that a burning feeling inside of you that started and got you going and got you moving in that direction. And so I think it's just also important to, for me, I find inspiration by watching certain films that I love that inspire me, and going to see theater, going to see live like plays, and also just thinking like living life and being inspired by life and being inspired by the world around me. That inspires me to create. I'm like, oh, like I want to tell more stories about this world, and it's not about how those stories are told or anything like that. It's about just telling it and getting it out, even if only 5 people watch it. So it's this, and just remembering where that comes from,
absolutely. I love it, and that's how the cookie crumbles. I love it.
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean, Casey, I love what you do. I'm so in love with your career here, because it's amazing all like how much passion you put to it, and the fact that I mean, as I said, besides bringing us cool entertainment, you are showing us at the end of the day that that dreams can be possible. And I think that is something that we need to know. I mean, that we need to repeat in our heads constantly, that if I want to do this or that, I can do it. And it's amazing what you do. Keep inspiring, because I'm super sure that there's hundreds of people out there who sees you and rely on you as an inspiration to be like, if she's she's still doing it, then I'm gonna do it too. So
right. Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. That's very nice. Yeah,
absolutely. I also want to thank those who watch this video. Thank you so much. Make sure to go follow Casey like right now, and the video's over. I mean, if you're also listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to go follow her. I mean, I'm gonna leave in the description her link so you can follow her. I mean, let's make her viral. #Team Casey. And I tell you what, you can watch Terrifier 2 and then jump to this interview, and you'll be like, oh, I get it now. So because it's amazing. And keep inspiring, keep creating, keep being this amazing, badass, super person that you are. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is
absolutely great. All right.